Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. My name's Carl with my BFF Keon and this guy, EK.
Hey, everyone.
Keon, how was your week?
Hi. It was good. Bitcoin plus is going on, which has been awesome. Lots of Bitcoin developers here, and that's always fun. And all of them coming through the lab in some fashion. Lots of talk of covenants, which is pretty cool. That's looking like there's a lot of, energy around getting some kind of covenant proposal in. And it seems somewhat inevitable, which is kind of cool. But that's really it. How about you? How was your week, Car?
Well, let's go to EK. EK, how was your week?
Sure.
Oh, my week was great. First time here in Plop Lab. Also, the conference. I went 2 days, and it's been going for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
And now it's hackathon. So also a lot of, as Kian mentioned, a lot about covenants, but also a lot of other topics because it's about script.
Yeah. This is also your first time in Austin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How do you like Austin?
United States, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. How do you like the United States? What do you like? How does it compare?
I've only been in Austin, really, so I can only speak for Austin, I guess. But the weather is warm, but not too warm. But I guess it gets more warm.
Yeah, it'll get hot by the time.
Yeah, I was telling him, I was like, dude, this is the first year where, what happened? It's just like winter never stopped. And it usually gets blistering hot, right after March, in the middle of March. And this year is just never, I don't know. It's weird. Strange things, Keon. It's like Stranger Things, but without the kids.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly like Stranger Things. How was your week, Car?
It was good. Apparently there's 2 arcs. I didn't know this. 2 arcs. And the one that I was onboarded on is this one. Check this out. Can you see that, Stackers? Look at that. So This is the one that Tieto and that team is doing. Dude, it looks freaking sick. Have you seen this? Did he onboard you?
No?
One? Yeah.
Okay.
It looks sick, dude. It worked. He's going to come by, hopefully, talk about it more. And, dude, yeah. Arc is coming. Or at least this version of Arc is here and coming. So shout out.
That's not the one from Barack. That's the one from Tiero.
So apparently there's a whole thing that I don't know. It's developer stuff. I try to stay away from that kind of stuff. But the one that Tiero's doing is it's happening. It's here. And I think there's another guy that's doing it, but it's
not Barack.
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't know his name. I don't know who that guy is.
Okay.
He's friends with Super. But
Okay. So Barack hasn't released anything yet, is what you're saying?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know about. Does that make? I'm trying to be not trying to offend anybody in either camp, I guess.
I see. And you're doing that by confusing us. That makes sense.
Well, it's because you kept asking the questions and I didn't have answers to them. I was just gonna say, hey, if you see Tieto, get onboarded to Arc. So maybe I should have just said that.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry, everyone. But anyway, it's happening, dude. Arc is happening. I'm super bullish on it.
Are you?
Yeah, dude. Because this is something that they were trying to get figured out last year at the Bitcoin conference.
Well, what are you excited about with regard to it? What are you hoping gets built out on?
I think it was just how fast the payment went through. I think for me, it was just how fast. He showed me a demo, and I was just really impressed with how fast it went through. And then it's just clean UI. So it's just another, because you have all these different types of opportunities now to try to figure out this whole Lightning thing, right? So it's just another thing. I don't know. For me, I get excited on the app side and the startup side, I think, more so than on the technical side.
I see. So
possibilities of new apps.
So you haven't thought about using Liquid underneath, and that's
other than
maybe
what our guy here talks about.
Okay. Cool.
Anyways, if you've never seen this crazy show, also I should mention Teresa's in the audience today. Shout out Teresa.
Wow.
She's the number 1 fan, or actually number 2 fan. First my sister, then Teresa. Apparently, found that out today. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if you've never seen this crazy show, it's called Stacker News Live. Covers the front page of Bitcoin. Cover the top 5 stories every week, even the ones that Keon wants to talk about. Sometimes they don't show up in the top 5, right, Keon?
Yes.
See, told you. And then we talk about the other ones, and then conversations ensue, and yeah. So if you're watching from home, hit that subscribe button, and drop some comments in the chat. We usually talk about them at the end of the show. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, drop it in the chat, and we'll bring it up at the end of the show. Okay, with that, let's jump into the top 5 stories of the week. The first top story is Bitcoin paradigm shift thought experiment. This is from Else Mercury, April 30th, Bitcoin territory. 34 comments, 11,000 sats, baby boy. Keon, what are paradigms?
It's like a I don't know, like a canon of thought, I would say, like a way.
I love that. That's a beautiful way of saying it. A canon of thought.
It's a very common turn of phrase, but it's like a way. It's like a way of thinking about things, and you have and like shifting from one to another is also a thing, which is because we tend to be pretty static in our view of things. Like, you know, the heliocentrism was a paradigm shift from Earth being the center of the universe, or the center of our solar system. So that's like a paradigm shift, and a paradigm is the way we thought about things. And Kuhn wrote this great book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. I highly recommend reading it. But it kind of describes what these paradigm shifts look like, and like what prevents them, what helps them happen, and it's just a fun area to think about. It's like like this whole historical analysis of technology I find really interesting, and super relevant to our times, because I feel like we both go through a lot of paradigm shifts and then don't. For not good reasons sometimes. And anyway, Elvis brings this up to present to us, what is going to shift, to get us to ask ourselves, what is going to shift us into a Bitcoin paradigm, and what does it require? And he kind of spells it out in a different way, asking us what is a scenario in which Bitcoin succeeds the most in the next 10 years, and under what scenario does Bitcoin, fail in the next 10 years? And that's the question he asked, and
nice.
Lots of people answered.
EK, do you have any thoughts? Did you read the post, or what do you think?
I read it, but I can't read it right now because I usually wear glasses, like not sunglasses. But I think, I like to also think about this paradigm shift, because Bitcoin is one of those. I think the internet was also a big paradigm shift. I think it's just because it's a good question. What is even a paradigm shift? For me, it's like when you have to completely rethink everything, like from going from analog to digital. Like people used to say, why do I need? I can just send a letter. Why do I need email? So I guess, paradigm shifts keep happening.
Nice. Undisciplined had the top comment. He said, these are right off the dome. If I think of something better, I'll circle back. BPRS, a large number of nations in the United States, makes some official recognition of Bitcoin as money. WPRS, I've talked about
best possible reasonable scenario and worst possible reasonable scenario.
Yeah. Anyways, what do you think, Keon? You think he's right?
I had my own take that I left in the comments here. My point of view is that I think Bitcoin needs to be attacked, and it needs to be attacked hard, and it needs to be attacked so hard that we spend most of our energy building self-custodial solutions.
Oh wow, you feel strongly about this?
I don't think I think if Bitcoin, the other position on this is like the worst possible scenario is Bitcoin becomes a sanctioned money, starts becoming held by central banks. People get comfortable using centralized services, trusting people that they shouldn't trust with their Bitcoin, and then it gets attacked. And now not the 5% of us that hold Bitcoin get get upset about it. It's like 90% of people suffer a loss as a result of Bitcoin getting attacked, and I don't think you really get that sour out of people's mouths, minds, whatever, when they get hurt by something like Bitcoin in that way. And so I think it's far better if Bitcoin is made stronger before we have wider adoption. And I think it will also secure Bitcoin's value proposition, which is this kind of money that can't be destroyed. But if we get too comfortable, I think we begin to soften on those principles, and it can be destroyed.
Yeah, I think I don't really like to pontificate, about this kind of stuff. I think it's a valid question to ask. I'm just more of a let's just get it done. I mean, think through it all, but then just go and start doing it. You'll figure it out along the way. The second thing I would say, kind of what you were saying, I think that's a valid way of looking at it. And I kind of think you're seeing it already kind of happening this past 2 weeks. I don't want to say any names or people or any groups, but there's been some people here at the lab past couple weeks, whatever it's been, and I think I'm not going to say I'm more bullish now, but the gloves are off on both sides, I would say.
Yeah, I think if this is the scenario that secures Bitcoin success, if Bitcoin being attacked is better for Bitcoin in the long run, which I think it is, then as I say in this post here, is that we're currently getting another degree of attack, and if I'm not wrong, it's good for Bitcoin.
You have any thoughts, EK?
Yeah, I agree with Kian. He also made a post about Lightning's red team. Where is it? Yeah, I think we need to continuously prove our resilience, and self-custody need to be normalized, which I think isn't the case really yet. It's too hard, maybe, especially on Lightning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot there. I feel like we could talk about this the whole hour if we needed to, but we're going to move on. The next top story is Nostr is identity for the internet. This is from a Max A. Webster, April 29th. Nostr territory, 20 comments, 50K boost, baby, 6,000 sats. Keon, what is this?
Yeah, this is a post by Max, kind of a broad survey of all the implications of Nostr as an identity service. It kind of highlights a lot of products and interesting uses for them, and how uncompetitive centralized services are with this type of decentralized identity, and how they're likely never going to be able to give us the same thing that a decentralized identity can. And that's it. He highlights a bunch of great Nostr products in here that are taking advantage of this, ones that are pairing, like we have Mutiny now pairing a Nostr identity with Lightning payments, so you get like a Venmo experience, but you're not having to recreate a friend graph inside of Mutiny. You just you port your existing friend graph from a social client, and it just in general he's making a bullish case also for Nostr, and yeah, I thought it was a great post, and for most of us who are familiar with Nostr probably appreciate these things quite a bit. And we're seeing a lot. He mentions Web of Trust in here. We're seeing a lot more use of Web of Trust on Nostr. I know Coracle is using it pretty extensively, and so is Primal at this point. I think Damus makes some use of it, but that's a lot of what I see on Nostr. There's a lot of talk.
Easiest way for a new.
Oh, this is DK.
And how do you
That's
search
Max right
for
there.
people?
Oh, that is Max. I didn't realize he's grown out his hair.
Does it use a third-party
I haven't
search
seen him in
service,
so
or did
long.
Primal
That
build their own
mustache.
search
Uh,
service?
They
As
built
an example,
Who's that other guy?
That's
Here's
DK.
the wallet. You can see
Oh,
I've
really?
got
That's him?
members.
Yeah, that's
Oh, I see
DK.
him on the
Cool.
internet.
They're in San Francisco. You're at
He has
Golden
he
Gate
has
Park.
$15,000 in his Primal wallet? Was that what I saw? Baller.
Did he really?
I think I don't want to.
That was probably 15,000 sats.
Oh. Yeah. What did you think about this, EK?
I was wondering if it was Max who said that the killer feature of Nostr are the social graphs. But even if it wasn't Max, I think he agrees with it, because the post article sounded like, you can just export. You don't need to have or recreate your social graph in every app. And I think that's a problem most people, or let's say normies, don't see anymore because they are so used to it. So if at least that's the hope. If they realize, if you use Nostr, you can you can use it for any app.
Yeah, imagining going from like Twitter to TikTok and not having to like rebuild everything, or from Twitter to WhatsApp and having all your contacts there. That's something that a Nostr future would give people, and beyond, and in apps where you previously couldn't have a friend graph, or you wouldn't have a friend graph really, like maybe more B2B applications. Now you can, because the company who's building the B2B application doesn't have to try to get that network effect going, or they can expect their customers to just bring it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'm just going to focus on this one thing just to give kind of a broader picture for the people that are building in that ecosystem. I would say it kind of reminds me of how Lightning kind of played out, where in the beginning you had like people like Stacker News and Fountain that came in there, and Voltage and some of these other companies that really had like the first movers advantage when it came to like the value for value stuff and the infrastructure stuff. And I think, obviously there is investment in those companies and they're still sticking around. And I think that's kind of what you're going to see here in the next kind of cycle, is you're going to see a lot more Nostr companies get funded, and then they'll kind of build out this thing. But I would say the big signal, and I think this probably won't happen for another like 24, 36 months, hopefully sooner, but I think until you see somebody like a David Marcus come into the ecosystem and like really build something that he can bring his network into, I think that's when it really shifts. And we saw that this week, and we'll talk about it later with the announcement with Coinbase. So I think that's something to keep in mind if you're building on Nostr, is like, definitely start building now. Shameless plug, but Nostr devs is a course that the guys made here in the lab, so you can definitely go out and download that and learn how to build an app and stuff. So I think if you learn all these Nostr tools now, learn the ecosystem, kind of build a name for yourself, you're going to be sitting really pretty here in the next 6 to 12 months, when a lot of these companies will need to be hiring this stuff. I mean, I'm already getting calls and emails for people looking for developers in this ecosystem, and these are just companies that have been founded and stuff. And shout out, we've been having Damien hang around the lab lately, and a lot of this stuff, that kid's really smart. He knows the ecosystem really well. So definitely, if you're a builder and you're looking to like lean into it, I would say lean into this ecosystem. That would be my kind of thoughts. Yeah. Cool. The next top story is the network access exception to the money transmitter rule. This is from Siggy47, Bitcoin territory, 42 comments, 12,000 sats. Keon, is this the one that we covered last week?
No, I don't.
Oh, is it a different one?
I think it's a different one. Siggy's written maybe 5 posts about this topic, but this one is about the Tornado Cash. They filed a motion trying to get, I think, a charge dropped on the money transmission, and basically argued they weren't money transmitters by cases that had previously established that a certain definition of money transmission, and then the prosecutors in that case filed an opposition to that motion that basically tried to argue that the previous definitions of transfer or transmission were invalid, and instead try to redefine it as something kind of generic. They actually, in their opposition, they cite, I believe, they cite a food article and then a review of a USB device as the definitions of transfer, which is kind of a weird thing to do. But they're basically trying to argue that the law as written does not describe what transfer means, and they're saying that transfer means this one thing. But then Siggy points out here that there's already been laws established that have exceptions for network access services, which would exempt something like Samurai from transmitting, because it's providing network access, and transmitting via network access is, according to this law, exempt. But as we know, laws are written. There are many laws written and often in contradiction to each other because they get written inconsiderate of other laws. But that's what a court exists to do, is to kind of be like, well, this one is the most reasonable and most applicable. But Siggy's making the case here that Lightning should fall under this network access services and not have to be concerned with getting a Lightning node operator should not be able to get charged with money transmission.
EK, you have anything?
Not really anything new, I guess. Yeah, just if they succeed with labeling Lightning Network as money transmitting, I think that's something we need to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest problem with a lot of this stuff is just the amount of innovation that this kills. I mean, you want to follow the letter of the law, and you want to check your lawyer and stuff like that, and legal team and all that stuff. I think the biggest problem I see with this is just the amount of innovation that this is just going to kill and put America in. And I don't know if there's somebody inside our government that's actually thinking through that. And I pray every day that there is, because this is like life-changing, once in a millennia technology. And if we fumble the ball on this, it's going to seriously put America in a very terrible situation. And if you're watching this from abroad, maybe this is you're probably in a much better position than America is right now to actually benefit from the once in a millennia type of technology that Bitcoin is. So more power to you, and definitely carry the baton forward for us here in the States, because a lot of us builders here in the States are very flustered right now with trying to really build on this innovation. And I think we're going to see more and more companies exit the States, and I think we're going to see more and more builders exit the States, and it's just going to be a brain drain of the American just spirit. And I saw this great tweet, I forget who it was, but the Bitcoin is truly American values at its heart, and so is Texas. Teresa talks about this all the time, but Texas has these really strong American values here in the States. Look, she's throwing up the horns. But yeah, it's true. And Bitcoin's very much like that too. That's why Bitcoin and Texas go well together. But I don't know the answers to this. I'm not a legal expert, but I do know one thing, that this is going to kill innovation in America, and it's no bueno.
So I actually take the opposite point of view, thinking about this for a bit. I think it'll create innovation in the direction that that we as Bitcoiners want, and it will hurt certain types of innovation, specifically around centralized money go up type of stuff, which is maybe bad. I think it's bad for a lot of DeFi, financial services companies, ETFs, banks, anything like that. I think it's bad, but I think this is the necessity that is going to create a lot of invention and innovation. And
you're right. I think it kind of goes back to the first post that we had, where it was what you said earlier between that and this, and it does seem, and I've been saying this for a year, it seems at this point, post Bitcoin ETF. Everything's becoming centralized, and you're not going to be able to hold your own keys. So, hopefully you guys innovate, because it's on the devs now to figure this out. So.
Maybe one question. That's probably a federal law, right? States can't just make their own laws regarding money transmitting.
They can. Most of all the money transmitting laws are at the state level. The unregistered money transmission charge has to do with, I think it was an FBI agent in New York using Samurai, and New York has some of the most stringent money transmission laws. And so basically they're claiming that they were unregistered in the state of New York, and they were transmitting money for this FBI agent in New York, is my understanding. And I think violation of those rules then becomes like federally relevant. Maybe I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, but my understanding is most of the money transmission laws apply at the state level, and they're different for every state. Each state has a different licensing procedure. Some of them don't have money transmission laws at all, and some of them have, a registration as simple as like filling out a form, and you get accepted. But ones like New York City, I think Strike only recently got a money transmitter license in New York, and companies like Zebedee, who have been in the space a long time and applied for these a long time ago, I don't think has a money transmitter license in New York yet. And I think one or two other U.S. states, because they're kind of hard. But yeah.
I guess what's important here, I think some people get confused by this. So it's not about where your company is, it's about where your customers are. So you need to, comply with their laws if you want to give them access.
Yeah, which is why you're seeing like Phoenix Wallet of Satoshi, basically geofence the United States out of their customer base because they just don't want to be subject to U.S. laws, and to be not subject to U.S. laws, they can't serve U.S. customers.
We're becoming China for the people at home. The top comment is, this makes the most sense to me as well after reading and rereading these cases. Please note I'm not a lawyer, just an autist who's also reading along. It seems that they are treating the Lightning Network in a similar fashion to torrent uploaders. If you aren't uploading anything, you don't have the rights to distribute. It's a perfectly legal way to distribute large files. Similarly, if Bitcoin is not money, according to the state, it's treated as property in the United States. Simply running a node that connects to the network is not running a money service. Provided users have exit and autonomy, because user access is not solely dependent on a provider's node, let's say LN Bits or Uncle Jim's Umbrel server. I think the Lightning Network is mostly in the clear. Everyone else in the States that is running something like that I know of is basically a KYC app. And then you mentioned some companies there. I think just off the conversations that I've been having at the conference, I think there's going to be some people that are going to test this. So I think we're going to see more suits or whatever you want to call them. And I think they're going to take them to court. I think the gloves are off. So I think we're going to find out. That's what I think. But we'll see. Stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting summer. The next top story is idea for future Bitcoin business. This is from Darthcoin. Bitcoin territory, April 28th. 49 comments. 3,599 sats. Keon, what is Darth up to this week?
Yeah, it seems like Darth is kind of continuing to encourage people to start like a local Bitcoin bank for their friends and stuff. He's also, I think the new spin on this one is providing de-Googled devices for people. And when you provide a de-Googled device for them, you also provide them with an Ellen bank account, I think is the other thing he's suggesting here. And then he links to several of his guides. But that was my read of this one. Did you have a different read of this, EK?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. But I sometimes wonder if he's talking about like underground markets, like if the laws changed, and I think it still affects people. So it's only some kinds of people will be willing to do this. So I'm sometimes just confused I think he doesn't care about the law, but does he just not acknowledge it, or it's just, but I agree that's a good thing to do, but it's still a bit more complicated, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like he wants people to create like private banks for their friends or local businesses, or However, and that maybe is a way that people can get access to custodial Bitcoin and use it without having to rely on a company that's going to pull out of the United States or remove their LSP or remove their coordinator. Maybe we'll have more grassroots local provisions of these kinds of services. And that seems to be what he's advocating, in addition to the de-Googled phone thing.
Got the top comment from Justin. He said, thanks for the mention. Lightning.pub isn't packaged up nicely for people adverse to the command line quite yet, given the stage of development, but we are looking at packaging and distribution over the next month or so. Folks should stay tuned. Then he says, it may come as a surprise that the biggest hurdle to more Uncle Jim's hasn't been with Bitcoin and Lightning node management itself. That's easily automated, as illustrated by bad patterns like mobile nodes. It's the legacy baggage of traditional web infra, things like IPv4, reverse proxies, DNS firewalls, SSL certs. Yeah, we did a pod with Justin on Thriller a while back. He definitely has a vision for what he sees his wallet's going to be. So definitely stay tuned. I don't know if did Darth say that he thinks you should buy a de-Googled device? Oh yeah, he did. I agree. I think if you're a Bitcoiner and using an iPhone, consider yourself being tracked at this point. But I'm paranoid. Yeah. Or maybe have two phones. Have your tracked phone and then have a de-Googled graphene phone. That's another way to do it. Or just have no phone at all. I don't know. Keon, do you think it's that bad yet?
I don't. I mean, I think if you want to go have a more private phone, I think that's great. I think you should do that. And if you don't, then hopefully you don't have anything you need to be private.
Check this darth-coin.github.io if you want more beginner guides on how to do this. EK, you got any last thoughts?
No, that's it.
Okay. The next top story is 10 ways to support ZEUS in 2024. This is from Evan Kaludas, April 28th, Lightning territory. 27 comments, 14,000 cents. Baby boy. Keon, what is this?
This is 10 ways to support ZEUS as enumerated by Evan Kaludas himself, the CEO and co-founder of ZEUS. Yeah, and I haven't actually used ZEUS recently. I think I might have downloaded it and checked it out. But I used to use ZEUS was like my main wallet of like 2020, 2021, connecting to my node at home. And when I learned that they were going to put a node in it, I was kind of upset. But I know you can still access that stuff, so I'm being silly. I want to try it again, but he's kind of just sharing how you might keep ZEUS's torch lit and, download the app, review it, help with the code. Looks like they have a bunch of cool merch. The aesthetic is pretty cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see these Lightning companies or the Lightning Wallet companies kind of competing on aesthetic. Yeah, pretty cool.
I would say like if you're I put this in the comments, but if you're building on Bitcoin and you're, you should definitely do one of these posts like Evan, because I would love to see this from all the posts, from all the wallets. This is the time to support these guys or people, I guess. EK, you got anything?
Yeah, that post reminded me that I should probably definitely try out ZEUS. Currently, I just manage my Lightning node, which is like across the ocean currently via the CLI. So I guess ZEUS will be a better experience. So yeah, and also because of Phoenix, even though I'm from Europe, so maybe this won't affect me that much. And I really like Phoenix, so I think I'll just try to keep using it. But yeah, I think Darthcoin also mentions a lot. You should just try use multiple wallets.
Yeah, the space seems to be changing a lot. We had Phoenix started introducing a bunch of updates within the last year. The splicing thing was huge, and then Mutiny came on the scene, then ZEUS came on the scene, and be really curious to see more of what comes from that. And then I imagine Breeze will be shipping their Greenlight enabled wallet sometime in the next, I would guess in the next year, maybe even the next few months, which will be yet another differentiated experience of Lightning.
Yeah, so many wallets to shout out, but yeah, I think definitely try them all. I say find the one that works for you. Cool. The final top story is, or no, that's it. That's all the top 5 stories, right?
That is.
Those all the top 5 stories. We go so fast. Sometimes I don't even know. We're gonna jump into EK's top stories first. EK, what is this? Writing to Think.
Yeah, I mentioned I didn't have much time to read a lot of posts, but that is one I definitely read. Or maybe I think not even that one I read in full, because while reading I was inspired to think about a lot of things. Even the picture, like I immediately get what he wants to say with the picture at the top. And also he linked to one of my posts, so I got a notification from Elvis and I got a notification that I was mentioned. So yeah, I really want to finish that post, and generally this blog is great.
Oh, I want to check this out. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've talked about, I think theirs is the
blog,
third top story from this guy that
this
blog post that has been shared of this guy. The
the
author.
writer?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really good. Really great writer.
Oh, nice. I'll check it out. Top comment was from Siggy. He said, really good article I'm subscribing to. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So good. Good post, EK. The next one is my top stories. We're going to run through these really quickly. Early Bitcoin investor Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, charged with tax fraud. Did you see this, Keon?
I did see it. Do you know what happened?
He got arrested.
I know, but do you know what the specifics of the fraud charges are?
Yeah, it was, I believe, let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to be the guy that gets through this. So it says right here, he, as a result of his expatriation, Ver allegedly was required under U.S. law to file tax returns that reported capital gains from a constructive sale of his worldwide assets, including the Bitcoins, and to report the fair market value of his assets. He was also allegedly required to pay a tax referred to as an exit tax on those capital gains. By February 4, 2014, Ver and his companies allegedly owned approximately 131,000 Bitcoins that traded on several large exchanges for around 871 each. Memory dealers and so they allegedly held 73,000 of those Bitcoins. So they got them on those things.
Okay, so what it sounds like it's saying is that he claimed the value of his assets was lower than it actually was. Is what I'm reading, and it sounds like he maybe did not account for the Bitcoin held by the companies that he owned. And because he's supposed to pay, I believe when you leave the United States, when you stop being a citizen and you pay this exit tax, you take all of your assets and pretend as if you are liquidating them, and then you pay taxes on all of them, is my understanding. And he didn't. I guess they're saying his accounting was wrong, is what I read into this. But
Teresa,
I don't
did you
know.
read any of that stuff? The Roger Ver stuff?
No, I didn't keep up with
Okay.
that as much as some of the other. But can you go back to your last point?
When
You were saying, no, you were right based on the little bit that I read, which is if you're leaving the U.S., they're going to do an assessment of your valuables.
Yep, your net worth, yeah, and then
Taxman's coming. And
Yeah.
It's coming in more ways these days, and that's why we got to keep Bitcoin free. Absolutely. And that's why Blood Lab matters. Yes, I'm a Texas homer. I'm a Blood Lab homer because it's just like what Parker Lewis said. It's freedom.
yeah,
And Michelle Weekly's been hitting it every day this week. You know, we are now in that phase we never thought would come. We knew it was out there, but we kind of thought it was way out in the future, and that is, and now they fight you.
yep, and now they fight you.
I would say if you have any questions, Teresa will be here all weekend. So
Uh-huh.
come through the lab. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so that was one, and then the other one I want to bring up was the Wasabi Wallet is shutting down. And this is the tweet here. Let me see if I can go to this website. Yeah, so the tweet was, after years of relentless dedication to improve Bitcoin's privacy, ZK Snacks, the company pioneering the development of Wasabi Wallet, is shutting down its COINJoin coordination service effective June 1st, 2024. And then they had the announcement post. Did you take a look at this, Kian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think this was like the talk of the conference yesterday.
Yeah, it happened very recently. But I think what they initially did was they pulled out of the United States, and then shortly after they pulled out of the United States and reviewed, I think, probably the indictments and the current Tornado Cash proceedings, they decided to actually shut down their coordinator, which is a lot like Samurai's coordinator in terms of assisting coin joins or coordinating coin joins, because they thought they might suffer the same fate as the Samurai developers. But in the one of the posts, at least on Stacker News and I think on Twitter, someone has already started running another coordinator, because the both Whirlpool and ZK Snacks is their software is open source and you can run it, and so someone is already doing that and providing that service to people, and will make the money that these companies were making previously.
That's the thing I don't understand, and maybe I don't know if somebody in the audience can explain, but I would think it would be in the best interest of the United States to make sure, like, and I'm sure, and I don't know anything, but I would imagine Wasabi was reporting all this and following the letter of the law and doing all those things, and at least making an attempt to. And so for me, maybe I don't know enough, and that's fine. But I would think you'd much rather have a company like that doing it than it's just out in the internet, and good luck trying to find that. Does that make sense or no? Am I making sense? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I guess I'm trying to say is I would feel like it's better to work with the companies already inside the space on how to report this stuff, I guess. I don't know.
I think Wasabi was already pretty compliant, or they attempted to be. They attempted to provide, I think, privacy services and be more compliant than Samurai was. I think a lot of people didn't. I think they were OFAC compliant. I think they also, they blacklisted several addresses. And so I think a lot of people didn't like them because of that. It was my recollection. Although I might be getting it wrong. It might be the inverse. I'm not sure. But they were already trying to, one of these companies was already trying to go out of their way to do a lot of this stuff. And they're still confused as to whether, I think it's just the laws are unclear. There's a really good podcast with Seth for Privacy on what Bitcoin did.
Oh, nice.
And they go a lot deeper into this stuff. Seth, who's
cool.
yeah.
Did it come out this week or something?
I think so.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. It's been tough to follow the stuff. We've been crazy busy.
Yeah,
here.
Seth goes over it great, and so does Bitcoin Q&A. They both understand it really well, and seems like they both understand the software involved here and the charges and where they sit.
Yeah. EK, you got anything?
Yeah, regarding the laws, I think even though we might, as mentioned, the fight you face was probably, we were thinking it will come, but maybe it was still a shock that it's now here. So I think even if you want to comply, it's now even still too hard to comply since you don't know what they're going to do next. So it's kind of like people are losing, I don't want to say trust, but I think even because it was hard to trust the government before, but now it's even more hard to know what their next moves are. So I guess it makes sense for people, for companies to just say, okay, we can't comply in any way, so it doesn't make sense for us to continue serving customers there if it's just too hard.
Yeah, I think it's like there's no clarity around the laws is what this injects into things. And if you want to be a legal entity, best thing for you to do is just not exist.
Yeah. And then the last one I want to bring up is this one, Coinbase sharing today support for the Lightning Network. Do you see this? So they partnered with Lightspark to now you can exit out your Bitcoin with the on Coinbase. I haven't used Coinbase probably since like 2017. It's been a long time.
What's really cool about this, I've talked to several people who didn't seem to actually read this announcement. They just kind of read the headline. But what Lightspark is doing for Coinbase is running the node, and Coinbase holds the keys. So Lightspark is not actually custodying the Bitcoin for Coinbase because Coinbase has the keys. This works a lot like Blockstream's Greenlight solution, using a validating Lightning signer, a remote signer. I'm not sure if there's much of a difference, but or if Lightspark and Coinbase are using either of those protocols. But I think that's a really cool thing, and we'll likely see more of it. And this frees Coinbase is already accepting. They have like a beta rollout of this because they didn't have to hire a bunch of engineers to build Lightning infrastructure. They're paying David Marcus and Lightspark likely a monthly fee or something, and yet they're still custodying it. And within a matter of months, they have a production scale, soon to be production scale, Lightning service.
Yeah, I think this is great news. I think this gets at least those people. I think one of the biggest problems I think I had with Coinbase in the early days when I was like getting into all this stuff was like the circuit breakers they would kind of turn on, and then you would have no option to exit, and especially during the fork. If you remember the fork that Roger tried doing.
Oh, the Bitcoin Cash fork?
Yeah. I remember trying to say oh crap, like what's going to happen? So I think that's good. I mean, having a withdrawal via Lightning is a good thing. I also think it's super bullish for Lightspark. I mean, we kind of already knew they were going to be the company that was going to make these deals with the Coinbases and the Ubers and all the A16 portfolio companies. So it makes sense from that perspective. It gets other companies in the space a little bit on the radar these other companies necessarily wouldn't probably interact with. So I think it's good for that end. But yeah, it also, just on the Coinbase side, it makes me wonder, like all these kind of, all this news coming out and then this kind of rolls out. It makes me, just as a Bitcoiner, my natural thing is like, that's weirdly timed. So.
Well, what would be connect the dots for me? You're like, this is a weird collection of dots. How would you connect them so that?
I have so many connections, but being that the week that it is, I'll try to be as obtuse as possible. So in the early days, and this is for the stackers at home, maybe somebody could go write an article on this, an anonymous post. But in the early days, Coinbase was a very good boy as far as like complying with regulation and all that kind of stuff. I think Jesse was the only one from that area at Kraken that wasn't necessarily compliant on that stuff, or at least would fight back. Coinbase is known to lobby inside of DC on certain things. So there's that. There's always been that, and then of course, like I think it was like 2018 or 2019, they purchased this kind of like analytics firm. So there was that kind of thing. So there's been a lot of that kind of stuff. The last thing I would probably say is just it's just weirdly convenient. I mean, you kind of see this where, just in business in general, where the incumbents get kind of wiped off the table, or the incumbents wipe the table whenever they're entering a new market. And I think BlackRock and some of these other, Main Street financial companies are, there's some dots that need to be connected. I'm not the guy to go and do that, but I would say just that. EK, you got anything?
No, just Coinbase. It's good that they integrate Lightning, but it doesn't mean that they are suddenly good now, I guess.
Yeah.
No, but I always wonder what the leadership at Coinbase thinks of this stuff and how they deal with it. I think if you take Jack Dorsey as an example, like if you listen to the things he said, it sounds like Twitter was captured from underneath him.
Did he say that, or?
I mean, if you listen to him carefully and you're not too cynical, I think that is the interpretation you would take, is that it seemed like he had a point of view, and the strong free speech point of view, and the shareholders, the investors came in and basically took the company into their own control, and he tried to manage it from underneath him. But maybe that's too generous to Jack. I don't know. But that I could imagine that happening somewhere like Coinbase, because I've heard Brian Armstrong talk several times in like an interview, and not just through the voice of some blogger who thinks they understand Brian's inner mind. And it doesn't seem like he's like he is this nefarious person. There's an interview with him on Uncommon Knowledge, which is this like conservative group out of Stanford. They do a lot of great interviews with Peter Thiel, but they had Brian Armstrong recently. He's talking about Coinbase and this stuff, and I just don't. He just seems like another Jack to me, like more than anything. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know too much. I feel like it's more like inside baseball now talk that we're doing. I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Well, I don't like to assume people are bad or good unless they have evidence, and the fact that their company is bad doesn't.
Well, a company
necessarily
can be,
mean
a company can be for evil. I mean,
it can be.
It's one of those things. Why Google took off the "don't be evil" thing. I mean, let's be serious about that. I think the biggest thing. I think what you're probably trying to say is like, sometimes these companies don't have an option because they're kind of forced into compliance or forced into handing over data to the government. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not saying they are forced. I'm mostly talking about the leadership at those companies, because they're so big and they're not majority owners anymore, either Jack or Brian. The company has its own, a mind of its own and incentives of its own, independent of their leadership, and that can be bad, and they might be okay as people, and you kind of have to, you kind of can't conclude that they're bad because their company is doing bad, but you could argue maybe they should step down and
I would say,
let it go.
I'm the type of person that always like, there's tons of founders that we hang out with, Keon. I can separate the man from his business. Maybe I do that just. I don't think there's anything wrong with Brian Armstrong as a person. I'm not saying he's evil or anything, but I can separate him as a individual from his company that he runs, because he does have fiduciary duties, and they're on the stock market, right? They have like a ticker and everything now.
Yes, they IPO'd last
so they
year,
probably
the year
have
before.
he probably has even way more responsibilities now than ever before. So, yeah.
I just wonder how much. The main question I'm asking is how much of his point of view lines up with what the company is, and I'm not sure. And so that's when I hear people say Coinbase is evil and then imply that Brian is evil. I wonder how much of that is true. Like it's mostly an open question. Not that I know it's not true.
Did you see the Zuckerberg thing? The podcast that I posted in Slack. Did you see that? So like Zuckerberg, Meta, it was falling behind with OpenAI and Google with all their type of LLM and stuff like that. And he was talking about how the only option for him was to kind of scorch earth. To catch back up, as far as like, because OpenAI had taken the lead as far as ChatGPT and stuff, and that podcast is fascinating because he kind of goes through different strategies of how to when a specific group of businesses or a specific type of business or even just another company in your ecosystem boxes you out in a way or takes the lead. As a CEO or founder, you only have a certain amount of options at that point, and he kind of goes through why he went the option of like open sourcing. I think it was Llama. So what I'm trying to say is, on the other side of that coin, no pun intended, Brian Armstrong is is doing he's trying to maximize profit for Coinbase.
Well,
And so
that's where I object. Is like when you say Brian Armstrong is Coinbase, I just wonder how true that is.
Well, he has shareholders. I mean, he has shareholders. He definitely has a board. What I'm trying to get at, just let me get this last point out, is, I mean, the whole reason for Coinbase to IPO is to increase the stock price.
Wait, but it didn't have a stock before they IPO'd. So,
Yeah.
well, so I mean, yeah,
so I guess we're talking two different things then.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand what you're saying, because
I'm saying that if it requires him to be quote unquote evil, he's probably gonna do it.
no, I think, well, yeah, the incentives are probably in favor of him, increasing the stock price. But I just wonder how separate those two things are. It's just mostly a question. I don't know. He could be evil. Jack Dorsey could be evil. I don't know.
I don't think there's lizard people. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think there's lizard people. I don't think necessarily people are evil inherent. I mean, there probably are some evil people out there, but I like to think that they're good people. And I mean, it's just business, right? They're just gonna do what they think is best for their business, and if it means funneling money into lobbyists for their company and some of the things that they want to happen, they're going to do that. Same thing with OpenAI. Same thing with some of these other things. So that's all I'm saying. I just, when the incentives are kind of like, it's kind of why Bitcoin works, right? It's because the incentives are there. So incentives matter, I think. But, I don't know. EK, you got anything?
Yeah, I guess maybe the question here is if, because we say money corrupts people or power corrupts people, does it corrupt every people, or are the people who get corrupted already corrupted?
Yeah, there's like a human nature, and like how vulnerable people are to incentives, and how much of this is in a CEO's control is what I'm curious about, because it's totally unclear to me, because I hear someone like Jack Dorsey speak about free speech, and then we see what happened at Twitter, and that those don't line up, and so how that's an interesting
I think if you're talking about just that specific example,
well,
you can have two viewpoints, and this is where I go back to the man and then his business. And so if he's looking at his business one way, doesn't mean he necessarily agrees with all the decisions that he's doing. He can separate the two, and I think that's probably what you saw there. Maybe it wasn't his decisions either.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't think someone can say that and like sleep at night and then make all these decisions at their business.
He could just be LARPing.
He could be evil.
I don't know if like that's like a full on evil good.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to make it simple so it's not confusing and not so nuanced that it's hard to tell. Does that, for my opinion, if someone is violating their own morals
for the sake of their business,
and for the sake of their business, they're a bad person. Isn't that true?
I think. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I know how I run Pleb Labs. I can talk about that. Like for me, and I tell to me and Teresa align on this all the time. Is like I'm Christian. Teresa's Christian. So we have Christian values and we bring them to Pleb Lab. Now, if people want to come in and take advantage of that, and other people want to come in and extort that or treat us in a different way or use us and abuse us in that way, I'm okay with it, because I have a Christian mindset to how I'm going to run this business. And I know I'm not going to bend over backwards because of one thing or another. And so for me, my principles are intact, my morals are intact, because I only want to win if I could do it the right way. And if it requires me to extort people or run over people or confuse to them or lie to them or do these other things, I'm not going to do it. And I'll let somebody else do it, and they can go and do it, and I'll give them all the notes on how to do it. But I'm not going to do that. So that's how I run my business. And me and Teresa agree with that. We talk about this all the time. How many times have we been in a conversation where we're like, man, can you believe what this person did to us? Can you believe what this person did to us? And we're just kind of like, she's cleaning up my wording here.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it quite like that so much as more frequently we say what you just iterated, which is we know where our grounding lies in our values and where those values originate for us. And from that is how we will operate and how we will deal with people, and we will manage the hills and valleys
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. I'm sorry. Kind of hot right now. What Keon got me.
I
Anyway.
think
Go ahead, EK.
I think another view on this is that people can be evil, but they can also change and reflect on their behavior in the past. So, like, I'm not sure, I'm not that deep into the Twitter story, but my current view is just that Jack Dorsey regrets what happened with Twitter and how he just tries to kind of salvation. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but just to do it better now.
I would say if Jack's listening, come on, Thriller, man. Like, come on, Thriller. I mean, I would love to ask him these questions because I think I can actually get these questions out of him because no one will ask him these questions. I'm the type of guy that I will literally tell you the truth if you're my friend about what I think you're doing wrong or what I think you're doing right. And you can hate me for it, but there will be at least one guy that loves you that says, hey, man, like, what's really going on here? Have you thought about this? And I like to think you do that for me, and I do that for you. So I don't know. I would love to have Jack on Thriller to talk to him about this kind of stuff. But I don't know. Keon, you got anything
Well,
else?
there's your love letter to Jack. Should we move on?
You brought it up.
I mean, I didn't bring up Jack going on your podcast.
Well, yeah, that's me trying to get Jack on the podcast.
I know. That's what I'm joking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one's meta. We're gonna jump into meta. Keon, SN's wallet plans. I'm gonna go get some more coffee. Do you want anything?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've I'd been talking about how we were going to describe our wallet plans for a while, and I just never wrote it up. I think at some level I was hoping that we'd get, or we might improve our understanding and be able to do something a little bit differently than I set out. But I wrote, this was me articulating in a way that I think was more understandable than the way I had been describing it before, so that people could understand where we're going with the wallet. And we could scroll down, but you can read the post if you want. But more or less, we're moving to basically be not custodians, and we're going to try to cope with the lack of custodianship by introducing something called a fee credit, which is kind of you've seen this used in something like Phoenix Wallet, where if you overpay, you now have a reserve of credit, more or less like a gift card for Phoenix that you can use within it to buy, say, liquidity or whatever. In general, we're hoping that the wallets get good enough and our connections to them get good enough that people do connect other wallet sources and can use real money. But in the case where they don't, I still think we can do a pretty good job with fee credits. One thing that I'm realizing most people misunderstood about this is that we can still pay you out rewards in sats, even though you might only be able to zap people fee credits or spend fee credits towards post fees and comment fees and stuff. But we can, once that becomes like in our control, and we aren't in control of that money for you, we can turn around and pay it to who we want. And so like our reward system will still be able to pay out sat so long as you have a lightning address. If you have a lightning address, we'll be able to send you sats. Otherwise we will probably have to give you fee credits. Anyway, that's like the whole thing. You can read the post. It's maybe a little better, maybe even more, maybe it's a little more confusing. I don't know. But there's a lot of questions in there where I try to clarify things for people. And I think we're ready for the next story.
Oh, EK, you have anything or?
I think it's a good place to ask questions, since I guess most of our comments about this are all over the place. So this was like a way to summarize the plans, and also writing is thinking. So
yeah,
I think my only thing is I would say it's still early stackers. I mean, Keon's trying to figure this out just like everybody else in the space, so give him time. I know EK is working really hard. I've seen him to fix a lot of this stuff. The only advice I would give you, we haven't talked about this week, but I don't like the free credit thing. I think you should call it something else, but that's my only nitpick.
Well, that's a naming thing. Yeah, we could change the name.
I think everybody agrees on that too.
Yeah, I think
Cowboy credits make sense. It sounds very dystopian.
It sounds, yeah, there are cooler names we can give it, but then it makes it more confusing for new people. Like, what is this cowboy credit
Or
thing?
The other option is just call them zaps.
Call them zap credits. I don't know.
Just zaps.
Maybe we call them zaps. That's not a bad idea.
Because it's not sats.
I do.
It's zaps.
Yeah, but I think now you have a verb. You have your verbs, and then you have the noun. I will have to think about that more. I don't think it's a bad idea.
I would call them zaps and
I know.
keep going. But anyway, it's just I would think through the name.
Yeah.
Because the naming stuff matters. Like,
I
because
agree.
that's how you frame it.
Yeah, it's either fun or it's
And this
boring.
doesn't
Yeah,
sound-
that's
yeah.
boring. I get it.
Anyways, the next meta is URSN reward system. What is this?
Oh yeah, this is Undisciplined. Undisciplined is on somewhat of a campaign to let people know that they earn money by zapping, because it's kind of not intuitive to people because most of their experience spending money is they go to a store, buy a sandwich, and they get a sandwich and they eat it and they're out of the money. But Stacker News, our algorithm, it pays you to zap well. So if you zap and you're spending money, this is how most people are very high up in the leaderboard and other people aren't, is because they are routine zappers of good content. And so the people who are zapping good content, like Undisciplined, they're earning more than they're zapping back. And then they're doing it again and again and again. Basically what he's saying is he is both influencing the content disproportionately, and as a result of influencing the content disproportionately, he's also influencing rewards disproportionately. And everyone has this power if they could see that they have it. But so he's trying to like make it clear. It's very not very intuitive, but it's like it's something we've been doing for a long time.
Yeah, I got Darth Coin in the comments says, I said many times zap wisely. People tend not to understand my words at first glance, but later we'll come back to them. There you go. Make them pay. That's what Darth says. What do you think, EK? Got anything?
I was just thinking about the, not edge case, but if you take it to the extreme, like if you reward the content you like so much that there will only be content you like, then you will just get your sets back, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much if you are zapping good content, and other people agree with you who are also zapping content they feel is good, at some point you are with them deciding what is good, and you will get rewarded and earn your sats back.
It's awesome.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Let's shout out real quick. Sorry, Teresa. This coffee's really good. What's the name of it?
You need to shout out
Chad.
the East Texas Bitcoin Alliance.
East Texas Bitcoin Alliance. They make coffee. Go get some.
Chad has coffee.
Chad has coffee. It's freaking good. Cool. The last meta is statistics charts. What is this, Keon? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, if you go to your statistics when you're logged in.
When I'm logged in, okay.
Yeah, you can, which normally we just had a table of basically all of your wallet transactions.
So it's not that analytics stuff.
No, you basically get graphs like that for your own account.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So you'll start seeing that.
You can already see it. It's in your, it
Yeah,
goes
I'm not
back,
logged in
goes
right
back
now.
through all time, and you can see
Oh, right here.
your spending, your
Oh, that's cool.
rewards. There's graphs below. But
That was one of the things I think the Shopster team did really well was, because they're like ex-Amazon guys, so they understood like the metrics of it all and being able to bring that to Nostr. And this is reminds me of that. It's cool.
people love
Especially
graphs.
Especially when you put that in social stuff. You don't see that too often in social apps. Like imagine if there was a graph inside of your Twitter or your...
Well, there is.
There is?
Yeah. If you go to a tweet, you can view the analytics for any tweet.
Yeah, for a tweet.
And then you can also go and view
This
the
is for your
analytics.
profile, though,
you can
right?
all view you can view the analytics for your whole account on Twitter as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Is that like Stacker News Studio? Because YouTube has this YouTube Studio where you can see all your data.
Cool. More and more data. What are the Oscars?
That's what we're calling our open source contributor award rules. So these are all the all that we've paid out to open source contributors.
Wow.
We're
Really?
now,
You
I
did
think we're
this?
now like at 4.2 million sats we've paid out. Oh, just in
Wow.
like 6 weeks. But it's
Look
basically
at
like
this.
we've gamified the Stacker News repo like Stacker News is gamified. It's like kind of our Stacker News' obsession with this, like how do you heal the incentives of like a sort of a broken, I guess a broken system of people trying to coordinate. We've applied, like we're beginning to apply that to the repo, and it's getting pretty good. I think right now we have 10 open PRs.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
I
So
was talking to you were talking to somebody in the conference yesterday. They were saying that EK is doing all the merges or something.
he is doing a lot of the code review and helping a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I mentioned that we are already like behind on reviewing, so I guess it's working.
Yeah, yeah. It's going pretty good. I'm hoping to get more. We're getting more and more people contributing, which is cool. And I was talking to a popular VC in the space about this, and he was saying he's going to start trying to convince his portfolio companies to do something like this, because this particular VC is very interested in getting more Bitcoin developers, or more developers in general, contributing to Bitcoin, and especially like fresh young ones, a lot of whom who want to build like an open source portfolio. This, incentivizing them to do it on Bitcoin projects might encourage them to build in Bitcoin. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job. Look at this. This is a lot. I know Moritz from Albi, when he did that workshop here, he explained that. And then I know Christopher David also is a big fan of bounties as well too. And I know Sphinx as well too. But seems like you might have a system here, Coob.
Yeah, I know Albi's been doing it they've been doing bounties for a long time. I don't know what their system looks like. I think it might be a little bit different. And yeah, we try to make it rather generic. Literally anything. If you just put up an issue, if you request a feature on our repo, you can get paid if someone implements it. If you give someone help who asks a question, well, you can get paid for
That's
it.
the thing. That's the thing, dude. I think most people don't really realize is at the end of the day, these developers that are building on Bitcoin actually are Bitcoiners too. So it always surprises me whenever they're like, "Oh, we just did something and then no one showed up." When I was like, "Well, did you have a Bitcoin prize?" And usually that is the first thing that will get people looking is the prize, the Bitcoin amount. So
Yeah.
don't forget, if you're doing something, you gotta spend the money to do it, especially Bitcoin. Cool. I think that's all the top stories, all the meta of the week. We're gonna jump into the top stackers. Here we go. Top stackers. Boom. By week. Here we go. Super Sat segment. Sponsored by nobody. Maybe it's you.
I don't know. Top stackers by value for the week. It looks like we have 3 of them in hiding. Then it's me. Then it's 0x Bitcoiner. Then Darthcoin. Darthcoin's still going. Undisciplined up there. Still stacking after all these years. I think that's a Cryptonomicon book cover in their profile photo. Yeah, Max, top 40 of the week. Pretty good.
Pretty good. And we got the top Cowboys, the most boring segment in Bitcoin. It's even got more boring.
I don't know who's ahead of me. I'm curious, but someone is ahead of me with the top Cowboy hat right now. But I'm right behind them, and then Kepford, and then Sats.
Oh, that's
Cats.
Siggy, dude. Come on.
You think it's Siggy? I'm not sure. I think he might. Oh,
He was always number one, remember, back in the day?
I think he lost his Cowboy hat at one point, but maybe I'm wrong.
EK, who is it? Is it you?
I think it's a good guess what you said.
Yeah. It's either Natalia or Siggy.
It's not KR, because KR he lost his Cowboy hat. He was definitely the reigning champ, and it's gone.
Cool. We got yeah. And then we're gonna jump into no million sat madness. What?
We're back on daily rewards.
Back on daily, baby.
Yeah.
About time. Yeah, it was a month too long. If you ask me, Cube.
Okay. Well, I didn't ask.
EK, what do you think, EK?
Yeah, I mean, I made a post about million
We
sat
talked about
madness,
He
so-
swung the vote. See, stackers, EK's on your side just like me. Cube.
But I was curious, was it because of the feedback, or was it just because we want to focus on wallets and less
Dude, look, Stefan.
discussion about rewards?
Dude, Stefan's number 12.
I think it was more so on some level it was the feedback. Like the numbers weren't showing anything too like that it made much of a difference, like a positive difference. And then most people didn't like it. So it was like a lateral move in terms of like the difference it made on the site, according to a lot of the data. And then most people didn't like it. So, and I think there is something to when we just went over Undisciplined's post, there is something to replenishing the sats with which he is like watering the content garden on Stacker News. And like I think you notice as the month went on, I think some people went into a sort of a wallet drought and didn't really, didn't have the sats to kind of go back with.
That's the way I was too. I was like, I'm just gonna wait until it replenishes.
Yeah, so that's not great. We might go the other way at some point and try hourly rewards and see.
That would be cool.
See what
I think that would
does.
actually probably work. Maybe get more people coming in.
Maybe.
That's what the goal is.
Yeah.
But, I think doing it once a year or once every 6 months, I think would be cool. I did enjoy it that first month. It was like, whoa, it was like really fun. But the second month, it was like, oh, I can't do it again. And I think a lot of people express similar. But
Yeah, I noticed the big reward at the end of the month messed with my auto withdrawals. So my channel, the liquidity wasn't enough, so I had to have to withdraw externally.
Oh, I
Maybe
see.
also something to consider here.
Oh, channel yeah. If you have a channel that is roughly the size of your reward amount.
I also think too. I don't know. I had to go back and look at my personal analytics, but I want to say like the blah builders territory. I don't know if I used it that much that first month or the second month.
No, you didn't.
So I have to go look and see why that was. But I think it's because we weren't getting daily rewards. But now I probably will use it more. So yeah, it actually makes you adjust your sat a lot.
Your behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting. But this seemed to not adjust it in the right way.
Cool. So, but you're still showing who's the leaderboard. So is this leaderboard just for the day, or is it just for the week?
It's for the day. This is how much they'll get rewarded. The rewards, I haven't donated to rewards.
So if I was you, stackers, you can see who's winning every day. So it looks like 0x Bitcoiner is winning because everybody else is in hiding. So there you go. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm in 8th place. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, you can play daily competes in the saloon, which is really cool. Let's jump into the saloon and say hi to all the stackers. Look at that.
Yakers?
What is this? Immediately thought maybe not.
Regarding the rewards, I think it was also fun to use the Hacker News bot as kind of a benchmark. But I haven't looked currently where it is.
The Hacker News bot is interesting because it doesn't take the top story on Hacker News at a point in time?
Yeah, it checks every minute if there is a new top post, but it has to be there for at least 1 hour. So if there is a new top post which was there for an hour, then it will cross-post it.
Yeah, so it's like it's using using Hacker News as a sieve for good content, and so it's no wonder that it's performing pretty well or above average because it's only taking content that's good.
This is like Austin building in the 90s. That's what they used to do.
Oh, just
there's
random
a bridge
roads.
to there's literally a bridge to nowhere. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if they took it down.
I think the Hacker News bot also, when it's a hit, then it's from multiple stackers. So it's not like one stacker zaps it a lot. It's when
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the comments. We got some comments from Zap.Stream. Looks like Undisciplined says, I didn't see EK back there until Coob asked him a question. You're blended in the dark.
Yeah, it does look like he might just be another knick-knack on the
Wild Hustle, shout out
on
Wild Hustle.
the shelf there.
He said thought he was John Stark from the dead. Back from the dead. Who's John Stark?
Who is John Stark?
Also, who's John Stark? I don't know who that is.
Is John? Does he mean like?
From Game of Thrones.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I love the Wild Hustles post. You ever see the Wild Hustles post, EK?
Yeah, I
so
even
good.
read a comment from him to me.
He did like a prayer post the other day. It was so good. It was good. He's like, dear God, the hustle here, still grinding every day. It was like the best. He goes, if you could just please watch out for the plebs and pray for Coob. 80K. I was like, it was the best, dude.
Yeah, I like his brand of
Yeah.
talking about him in third person. So I think that's really good for him.
Yeah,
For him.
Yeah, him and Real Coach Andy, that guy I love. Like, that actually motivates me every day when I see that in the saloon. When I see Real Coach Andy post. Anyways,
Yeah.
we got Keith saying hi from Belize. Belize? Is it Belize?
Oh, nice Belize. I wonder what he knows about McAfee.
Oh man, what happened to the other comments? Oh man. Coop, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I fixed
Did we lose them?
fix them.
What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm supposed to watch Julius Caesar with Marlon Brando in it. That's all. Those are all the plans that I have. Might finish my book.
Yeah, EK, what are you doing this weekend?
I guess focusing more on coding because I've been on the conference for 2 full days and didn't find a good spot to work, or was just like flashed by all the content there.
Yeah.
Maybe also some exploring of Austin.
I can't show the comments, but because I just accidentally hit a button. Hello from Cambodia, where the temples are ancient and the Wi-Fi is always trying to catch up. That's from Fireworks. We got Keith. He says, maybe if Satoshi reveals their identity. I don't know what he meant by that. And then we had Nada K. Do you know who that is, EK? She says, thought I would pop by and say hi. There you go.
Not sure. What
We got
was the name?
Nada K. Then we have Tennessee Stacker. He says hi. Felipe says, is that EK in the middle? Looking good. And then the Bugle. He says, what's up, guys? What's up, Bugle?
What's up, Bugle? We saw some people with PodComp shirts here at
Oh, yeah.
PTC++.
It's spreading.
I think 2 people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a Bitcoin
that's
Bugle
his, right?
Enterprise. Yeah, that's my guess. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's all we got this week. Snackers, you have yourself a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Avoid any knocks at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. You never know. And throw away your iPhones. Download Graphene and start getting de-Googled. And do that this weekend. And then stay safe. And
And
yeah, that's what I would say. Don't touch grass. It's dirty this weekend. It's all
Why is
raining.
it dirty?
It's all raining out there.
Oh, well, that's just here. It's not raining all over the world.
It probably is.
You're right.
Looking like UK out there right now.
I guess so.
Which you don't support because you don't have a stacker poop.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's now that you're a Brit. Okay.
Cool.
Should we go?